If the events of early 2021 have taught us anything, it's that the stock market can be manipulated by a group of people if they have the desire to do so. If it could happen in 2021, is it possible then that a different tactic could be used to manipulate the stock market some 37 years ago? Hey guys, it's Freaky Informer, and today I'm doing something I've never done before. Today I'll be talking a little bit about the monster with 21 faces who terrorized Japan in 1984, before positing my own theory on who exactly the monster was. Let's get into it. The monster with 21 faces was a name that came from a crime graphic novel and later used as an alias by the person or group responsible for the blackmail letters in the Glico Morinaga case in Japan in 1984. Essentially, between March of 1984 and August 1985, there was one recorded kidnapping, several threatened poisonings, and 12 products which were actually poisoned. These packages were marked very clearly as poisoned with no actual cases of injury to the public. There were 3 main suspects in the case, but no person or group was ever proven to be the monster with 21 faces. I won't be covering the specifics of the case, but I will briefly list some theories on the monster's motive before presenting my own. The first theory of the monster with 21 faces is that the kidnapping and blackmail was actually an inside job by one of the main companies, and that the president of Zaki Glico was in on the kidnapping. This theory circulated mainly because the man escaped his kidnappers and broke down a door by himself without being caught. Furthermore, it was believed that he was part of the conspiracy because he could not identify any of the people who took him. There was also no evidence of this at the warehouse he claimed to have escaped from. Not even a broken door. Even more suspiciously, his company's candy wasn't poisoned while others was. However, this theory is well disputed because the company took such a loss in profits that many people lost their jobs from the ordeal. Another theory stemmed from the food company scandal some 30 years earlier, in the 1950s. 12,000 infants were injured, possibly disabled for life, and 138 died as a result of some food products from Morinaga containing arsenic. These victims would have been fully grown adults by the time the monster of 21 faces was active. A very strong theory is that an individual known as the Fox-Eyed Man was a major part of the monster with 21 faces. He was seen by police twice, at times when the monster was supposed to collect ransom money. The Fox-Eyed Man was said to bear a striking resemblance to Manabu Miyazaki, whose biography I'm going to get a little bit into before I disclose my theory, because Manabu Miyazaki is somewhat central to my theory. While it was never proved that the Fox-Eyed Man was Miyazaki, there's a little bit of a clue in that he might be. Later on in life, Miyazaki became an author. He spoke about his life as a gang member in the book Topomano, Outlaw, Radical Suspect, My Life in Japan's Underworld. The cover of this book mainly features the composite sketch of the Fox-Eyed Man. However, I think it's Miyazaki's personal ties which give the motive behind the monster with 21 faces attacks. Miyazaki's father was a Yakuza leader, though in my research I could not figure out just who Miyazaki's father was. Miyazaki was this leader's second son. We do, however, know that Manabu Miyazaki led quite the life of crime, stating in his memoirs that he spent quite a lot of time involved in illicit activity, specifically within the underworld of the Yakuza family. This is where we get into the theory behind the monster with 21 faces' true motivation. The acting Yakuza boss at the time of the 21-faced monster's crimes was Masahisa Takenaka. In fact, he came to be in charge of the Yamaguchi-gumi crime syndicate in 1984, the year in which the Glico Morinaga case began. More interestingly, he died just a few months before the last letter from the monster was sent. Is it possible that he drafted these last letters, or were several people close to Takenaka carrying on the blackmail and extortion in Takenaka's memory? The stock market exchange in Japan was at an all-time high. In fact, it was gaining momentum rapidly and only predicted to increase over the next several years. In 1984, residents didn't realize just how valuable stock was about to become. In 1986, the market would erupt into a bubble economy. The cost of real estate and stock market prices were to inflate massively. From 1982, those red lines began to peak and peak and peak. It rose continuously, and quite a few brokers and those in the know took notice. Masahisa Takanaka's specific branch of the Yakuza has quite the reputation for stock market manipulation. And boy are they good at it. As the Wikipedia page puts it, the Yamaguchi Gumi are among the world's wealthiest gangsters, bringing in billions of dollars a year from extortion, gambling and sex industry, arms trafficking, drug trafficking, real estate, and construction kickback schemes. They are also involved in stock market manipulation and internet pornography. It's my theory that this Yakuza branch took special notice of the fact that stocks were about to hit an all-time high. It was the perfect time to invest. Nowadays, the best industries to put stocks into are communications and technology. However, it's much harder to sabotage and cause public fear of technological items such as the hi-fi system that Sony released in 1984. Stock Market 101. Always invest at the lowest possible price. If you can create public hysteria and get products taken from a major company's shelves, you can cause their profits to cease and their stock price to drop. So what does this have to do with the Yakuza? Well, the monster with 21 faces never hurt anyone. In fact, the perpetrator took many cautionary actions to prevent anyone from being hurt. This includes letting the president of Glico go free after his kidnapping, as well as labeling very clearly the products which contained poison. They also did not rough up Izaki Glico when they had kidnapped him. While the Yakuza are most definitely criminals and have done terrible things, they have a particular code of ethics, similar to the samurai's code of chivalry. The Yakuza, under any circumstances, do not steal from the everyday man. In fact, members of the organizations are demanded to always act chivalrously to those outside of their world. They also have a long history of helping members of the public who were in need in earthquakes in 1995 and 2011 respectively. The Yakuza reacted immediately to send food, first aid and helicopters to those in need, as well as opening the doors of their offices to let those in need have some form of refuge. In the event of Glico's president being kidnapped, the individuals who took him from his home only tied up the man's family members, seemingly not using any exerted force. In fact, when offered money by Izaki's wife, the woman was told simply that money was irrelevant. Was this money irrelevant because they were going to make it back on the stock market? This would also explain why the ransom demanded for Izaki was such a ridiculous amount. The kidnappers had demanded 1 billion yen, which is about $4.2 million at the current and then exchange rates, so in today's money, as well as 100 kilograms in gold bars. That's almost $10 million in cash today, and $80,541 worth of gold in today's money. The average ransom demanded is about $1.15 billion according to recent statistics. Let's turn to some of the letters that the monster with 21 faces sent out during their reign of terror. It's noted that the letters were written in a dialect specific to the region of Osaka. Interestingly, that is where Masahisa Takanaka, the aforementioned Yakuza leader, was based. In fact, he was born just over an hour away from Osaka in Himeji. The following letter is the letter sent by the monster on the 23rd of April 1984.
To police fools, you shouldn't lie. If you lie, you steal. I also sent this to the Koshin police. Why are you lying? Don't hide things. Why are you complaining? You guys are having such a hard time, so I will give you a hint. I enter the factory from the side staff entrance. The typewriter we used is Panwriter. The plastic container used was a piece of street garbage. Monster with 21 faces.
What's most interesting here is the language of the letter, particularly in terms of the tone. Telling the police that they shouldn't lie because it is stealing is extremely interesting to me for one reason. The Yakuza forbid stealing in their Ninkyodo, what some would call a code of ethics. The final letter sent by the monster is also an interesting one. It is as follows.
Yamamoto of Shiga Prefecture Police died. How stupid of him. We've got no friends or secret hiding place in Shiga. It's Yoshino or Shikata who should have died. What have they been doing for as long as 1 year and 5 months? Don't let bad guys like us get away with it. There are many more fools who want to copy us. No career Yamamoto died like a man, so we decided to give our condolences. We decided to forget about torturing food-making companies. If anyone blackmails any of the food-making companies, it's not us, but someone copying us. We are bad guys. That means we've got more to do, other than bullying companies. It's fun to lead a bad man's life.
As always, the monster uses the terms of we and us. But what most interests me is this line: "We've got no friends or secret hiding places in Shiga." At the time of the crimes, and up until 2003, there was absolutely no Yakuza presence in Shiga. Furthermore, the monster expresses that Yamamoto died like a man. This next bit is a little bit graphic. Yamamoto committed suicide by fire after writing a public statement that he was regretful and that he could not capture the monster with 21 faces in his time as a policeman in Shiga. This is reminiscent of the traditional Japanese practice of seppuku, wherein a samurai or disgraced person would commit suicide in an unpleasant manner in a form of repentance. The Yakuza, as a kind of descendant of the samurai and their practices, do not view violent death as something terrible. Dying violently is considered poetic, tragic, and honorable. It would make sense for the monster to honor Yamamoto in this way if the monster were in fact one or more members of the Yakuza. As for the woman and child who were in phone calls demanding money, I believe the woman and child are Takanaka's girlfriend and her child or relative of some form. Even more importantly, Takanaka's partner may well have been the one writing the letters. She lived in Osaka at the time in which the crimes were taking place. Who do you think the monster was? What was their motivation? They never gained money in ransoms or extortion throughout the Reign of Terror. Do you think they gained money instead from the stock market? That's it for my theory, guys. If you have any questions about anything I've left out in the case, be sure to let me know in the comments. And if you think this theory is solid, be sure to leave a like. There's a charity and petition that needs your help in the description. If you'd like to keep up with anything to do with my channel, be sure to join the Discord. Stay freaky, stay informed. It may save your life.